Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are driving from Seville to Granada. We're taking the A92, which is a very well-maintained 4-lane highway, driving through kind of the middle of the Andalusian region here in southern Spain. The main reason we are going to Granada is to take a walking tour of the Alhambra. Due to the size of the Alhambra, that will take up the majority of our day that we are going to be in Granada, but I hope to get a little bit of walking around through the area of Granada that we are going to be staying in the evening. For our tour of the Alhambra, we chose the guided tour option. And I do highly recommend this option because you will get a wonderful amount of detailed information about the Alhambra in each section that you go to on the tour that you would not otherwise get if you just simply went and walked around on your own. Whether you choose to do the guided tour option or just to get your individual self-paced tour option, make sure that you get your tickets well in advance of coming to visit the Alhambra, because they do have a limited amount of tickets available even before COVID, and they do fill up quite fast. We got our tickets a couple months before we were actually going to be in Granada, just to ensure that we had our tickets, and even at that time there were still a lot of time slots that were filling up, and so we were able to luckily base our time in Granada around the availability of tickets. to Granada to visit the Alhambra, I recommend staying in this general area for a couple of reasons. First, parking around the Alhambra is pretty much non-existent between the tour buses and the amount of people that are going to go there. It's pretty much not feasible to park anywhere close. So I would recommend that general area so that you could take a ride share or a taxi very cost effectively to and from the Alhambra. The second reason is that there's a lot of things in this area, from other historical things to see to shopping, all within what would be walking distance of your hotel. Parking here is going to be the same as a lot of parts of Spain where it is limited. So I would recommend that you get a hotel that has a partnership with a parking garage so that you can park your car for the duration of your stay and then either walk or take the ride sharing services or a taxi. Another important factor to consider when coming to the Alhambra is, depending on the time of year that you come, the weather can be quite warm. And because of the openness of this castle, this fortress, this facility, it consists of many buildings over a very large campus. And while there is some shade, there is not an abundance of shade as you're going to see from the videos. So again, be prepared for that if you come during the hot months. Also, this is a huge facility. You're going to be doing a lot of walking. So make sure that you bring the appropriate footwear and also bring plenty of liquids to make sure that you stay hydrated during this trip, and it will be very enjoyable.
Didn't know it'd take me past my destiny. You're behind me with the rest, 'cause I'm a mess. No more you.
Only get better. I need it more than ever. They don't. How can I believe you when everything is see-through? Everything is see-through. Everything is see-through.
The Alhambra dates back to the 9th century, and one of the amazing things about this place is that everywhere that you look, whether it's walls, whether it's ceilings, there is an enormous amount of very detailed artwork, whether it is painting of the tiles like you see here, or if it is, carved in the stone or the wood. It is covered in detail. I'm not sure that there was a wall anywhere in this facility that didn't have some sort of elaborate artwork on it.
You said things could only get better. I need it more than ever. They don't. How can I believe you when everything is see-through? Everything is see-through. Everything is see-through. Everything is see-through. How can I believe it when everything things could only get better. I need it more than ever. They don't.
One of the regrets that I did have about Granada, and I think a lot of our Spain trip in general, is not allowing for more time in each city. When I started to research Granada before coming, it was a very common point of view that the only thing to do and see in Granada was the Alhambra. But the Alhambra also takes up, 4 or 5 hours of your time for that day, plus the time to get there, plus the time to get back to your hotel. And so that doesn't leave a whole lot of time for exploring the rest of Granada, and there is a lot more to see. So I would definitely recommend making sure that you have at least 2 full days to explore the Alhambra and also Granada and the surrounding area around Granada. I know one of the questions that has come up probably early on is we started off in Seville, but I didn't see any video of Seville. Well, unfortunately, that's because I was sick. I got sick about halfway through our Cadiz stay and was sick my time in Seville and was just starting to get better by the time that we got to Granada. So unfortunately, I was not able to get out and explore Seville. So I'm going to have to go back and add Seville back into my list because it is a wonderful city. And again, you're going to need 2 to 3 days there at least in order to see a good amount of the stuff that you want to see in Seville.
A fast method, and I'm going to explain you with these 4 holes that we have in the tower. This is a method called tapial, and the English ring, in which consists. First of all, you build a square box of wood, a big one. You fill it with the red clay, the red conglomerate, some sand, rocks, and a lot of water. And then you have your workers, your slaves, mixing everything. It turns a kind of magic. Then you take the box, and you hold the box here using 4 wooden bars. With the conglomerate in the inside, it's solid, it's a block. Most of the times, you break the box, because the box only works to give the shape of the block. It makes a block similar to concrete. Then you retire, you remove the 4 wooden bars, and you use the same holes they remain for the scaffolds. It's really cheap, fast, but has very big problems. Some method from really dry places, even more than Granada. If you go to Mali, in Africa, the people in Mali, they build with this method. But what happens in Mali, or what it doesn't happen, never. Granada, well, at least once per year it rains, but not so much, no? Granada is dry, but it's only rain. So material stuff is all with erosion. So mainly the Alhambra was invented, like a nice establishment. And they were in Pali, and they were forced to cover everything with this. And this is a second layer of limestone, trying to protect the previous one. So the red one, because of red clay, official version, is not true. The Alhambra was always traditionally white. It was covered with a waterproof layer of the limestone is in the upper part. And this is the upper part, that's the real core of the Alhambra, which is a mix of white and red. No? Here, however, you have some stones, bricks, and concrete behind you. It's how they dealt with the restoration in Spain in the 20th century. It's called scientific restoration. So all that you see around with different materials, it's real. And maybe you'll agree with me that it's really ugly. It's not really where mixed materials. They use different materials. There's one of them that you never use again, the original one. Why? Because nuts? No, it's because they thought that if you introduce the original one, you are faking the history. Because you don't know which part is original and which part is restoration. So you introduce different materials in each restoration to tell you and show you when it was done. That way you don't think, oh, what a wonderful fort from the 13th century. It's not true. It remains this part. That way you can distinguish even periods of restoration. This tower was 85-90% original. I mean, with the wall behind you, it's completely fine. Now the wall is at some point, and I tell you that with the materials, right? This idea of restoration is a really bad idea, and you don't use it anymore nowadays, right? If you're interested in restorations, at the end of the tour you can approach and explain how it's built, know what it is. But what I explained to you works for the Alhambra, to understand which part is original or not, and for the rest of your tour. This is a silo and storage food, grain, and these are sufficient for a while. Also used as dungeon. Usually the silo and the second hall is the dungeon. What the difference between the dungeon and one Let's take the fork and I'll do it. This is the lowest part of the water that is stored in the You go downstairs, and can you see that before right in the middle? Work for a heating system. You keep some pipes, so you hit the floor. You hit the floor until the point about your feet. You can stand there.
Air baths for the Alhambra.
In Spanish, Paseo de los Tristes, Walk of the Sad People.
Okay, and then that one.
And that's the St. Nicholas, the viewpoint of
St. Nicholas?
St. Nicholas.
Okay.
Right.
Somebody's throwing a party.
Thanks.